Hey guys, hope everyone's doing alright out there. Um, just on my way to fucking work. And wanted to talk a little bit about work. Just that word is enough to make your stomach turn inside out. As, this is going to be what this video is about. And that is hustle culture. And the capitalist lie that society has us all under the spell of. We're going to talk about that today. So, you hear all these YouTube influencers, whether it's the Grant Cardones, it's the Wes Watsons, it's the Andrew Tates, the Andy Elliots, and they're obsessed with grinding it out, and they glorify, how hard and how long they work, and how, it's all about grit and grind and hustle, and like they use these words as though they're virtues, that, essentially, like, your purpose as a man is to work and to produce and then to consume. And all that's really doing, all these guys really are mouthpieces for the dead soul consumer capitalistic society. That's what they are. All right? So, when you're talking to these people, when you listen to these people, rather, that's what their message is. It's not a revolutionary message. It's actually, part and parcel to, a consumption-based economy, an economy that thrives on constant consumption. And personally, I think that culture is eroding the quality of life in our society. It's making us think that, our value is tied to how much money we make and what kind of car we drive, and and then you get into the status part of how many followers you have on YouTube and Instagram or whatever. And that doesn't make for a happy society. It doesn't make for a balanced life. That's another thing too, that these people want to always scream and say there is no such thing as a work-life balance, and that's just bullshit. Your purpose. Well, and that's the other thing. This other thing about purpose, it's really a stupid concept if you think about it. Like, there's no real purpose to life other than to survive. Okay? Anything beyond that is totally arbitrary and subjective to the individual. And that's what freedom is. Freedom is about finding out your own purpose, and your own purpose could be anything the fuck that you want, and you don't have to justify it to anyone but yourself. I've said this for years that, if you are willing to deal with the consequences of your actions, then who the fuck is anybody to tell you what to do? Nobody has any right to tell you what to do with your life. Because I'm going to tell you something. Most people don't know what the fuck they're doing. They try to act like they are. They try to sell you. And oftentimes the people that are trying to sell you on their ideas are the ones that need the most amount of reassurance. Sorry, this thing just keeps doing that. Probably didn't put the thing on right, but whatever. So stop thinking that, work and grind and grit and hustle, these words that have become, pseudo virtues in our society. And I'm not advocating for laziness either, because I know that some people will come out there and say, well, what am I supposed to do? Just be lazy? And that's not at all what I'm advocating for. But what I'm not advocating for is essentially, slaving away at your job or your work and grinding it out so you can make every last fucking dollar that you can. in hope that one day, you'll have enough money to exit the workforce. Because the reality is that the biggest illusion in life is believing that a habit, an action, is just going to be done one time and that it won't be repeated. Because we tend to repeat our behaviors, we tend to repeat our habits, even if they're not good habits, we tend to repeat them. And so it's really illusionary to think that one day you're just going to totally change your behavior, even when you get however much money you think that you need to be secure or happy. And I'm going to tell you one way that I've seen people exit the system, or let me say it a little bit differently. One way I've seen people keep themselves in the system is that as a man, as a human being, really, you kind of need to justify why you're working so hard, right? There has to be a justification as to why you're grinding and gritting and, grinding it out day in and day out. Because let's just face it, all work is an activity that you are doing for no other reason than money. And it is also an activity that if you didn't need the money, you would never do it. So we all hate our jobs. We at best tolerate them, but none of us really like our jobs, okay? Because if you're doing what you're doing for money, then you're not doing it because you enjoy it. And even if you started out enjoying it, you will learn to hate it, because you're not doing it because you enjoy it anymore. You're doing it because somebody is giving you money. And if you don't do it, then they can take that money away from you and cause you damage. So we all know what the real motivation is behind work. It's because somebody has leverage on you. They have leverage with their money that if you decide to say, fuck you, I'm not showing up to work today, they can fire you, and, your life will be in ruin. Okay? So, well, there's one thing that you can do. And I hear people talk about living within one's means. And I disagree with that. I think you should live well below your means. If you're making $100,000 a year, live like you're making 50. If you can afford to drive 2 nice cars, drive 1. I myself, I have 2 cars. And, I enjoy having 2 cars, but that's 2 car payments, 2 insurance premiums I have to pay every month. If 2 cars I have to pay for maintenance when the time calls for it. And I recently just realized that, I'm really not benefiting at all by having 2 cars. And I should just, have 1 car, and, reallocate my those funds elsewhere. And then I would save probably another, probably close to, another $10,000 a year. Maybe a little less, but because insurance is really expensive here in South Florida. So that's what I'm saying, don't, and look at what you're spending your money on. Look at all the subscriptions that you have. If you don't need it, if you don't absolutely need it, get the fuck rid of it. That dating apps, certain shit that you may have signed up for, little services that you don't even use anymore. Like I think I had Geek Squad for Best Buy. I never fucking used it. So I didn't even realize I was paying $40 a month for it or something. I got rid of it. I had some heart rate monitor app that was $15 a month. Get rid of it, right? Now, learn to understand this. It's just like the Brad Pitt said in Fight Club. The things that you own end up owning you. So what you can do instead is do things that don't require much money at all. Things like martial arts don't really cost a lot of money. Right? It's time. Doing hiking doesn't cost much money. It's time. Going canoeing or kayaking. Doesn't, a kayak's a few $100. Once you get that, things that actually are activity based. Like I like to do paintball. That is a little expensive. I mean, it's not terribly expensive, but a full day, a couple hours playing paintball is going to cost you a few $100. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So and it's an activity that you're doing with other people. So like that's the thing is the system wants you to be maxed out in terms of bills and in terms of consumption. And if you really want to be against the system and one day exit the system or have as limited a relationship with it as you can, because I think at this point with everything being on a digital grid, it's pretty hard to like totally exit the system. But I still think that you can limit your exposure and your dependence on it, and that is becoming independent, learning how to grow your own food, learning as many skills as possible, learning how to make money that's location neutral, learning how to work on the internet, having multiple sources of income, okay, and being in intentional community with other people. And what this hustle culture has really done is it's eroded community. We don't have communities anymore because everyone's so fucking busy trying to pay for all their fucking bills that, and again, look, some things are just not people's faults. The fact that rent has literally doubled in the last 5 years, and it's gone up even more than that in certain markets, that's not anyone's fault. That's just, unfortunately, the state of the economy. But there are a lot of things that we're doing that we really don't need to be doing, that we don't need to be, that it's like we don't need to justify the extraneous expenses that we have, all right? And again, and this is what I'm getting at, I'm not happy where I live. I hate Florida. It's a shithole. It's a tropical shithole. I hate tropical areas, for one. I think it doesn't align with my values, okay? It's actually, not only does it not align with my values, it's in direct contradiction and opposition to my values. I don't like the people here. I don't like the traffic. I don't like all the immigrants that are here that I think shouldn't be here because most of them are here illegally here. And the ones, even a lot of the ones that aren't here illegally refuse to assimilate. They live in little shithole Russian, Ukrainian, or Hispanic neighborhoods where they just speak their language and they have no intention on becoming American or assimilating into society. So essentially, they have a country within a country, which I think is a major problem. But that's what's going on in a lot of these major cities. They're overpriced, they're overpopulated, the traffic is absolutely fucking abysmal. But I also think though that this recluse fantasy of just buying a cabin in the middle of nowhere and saying fuck you to society is romantic as that somehow feels. I don't think that's a solution, because we need to be in community, we need to be socializing. It does take a village to I think to have a full life. But so there's got to be a gray area, right? And that's why I think for this year, it's January 9th, so we're in the beginning of the second week of January, I'm really going to start to seek out other places. I got a little bit of money saved up. I'm going to get rid of my second car, hopefully pay this car off so I won't have a car payment, and I have what I need. I have pretty much all the stuff that I need, but it's just about getting out of Florida, really. So with that being said, speaking of hustle culture, I got to go off and fucking hustle, unfortunately. So I'll see ya.